All right, recording has started. Then we can do that. All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Career Development and Self Assessment Series Workshop Part 1. As you all might have been aware, we have moved the session to an online session, so thank you once again to our participants that have managed to join in online. We do have a few others that are here physically, but then they will also join online shortly. To Dr. Lackman, thank you for availing yourself for this series. And maybe just a quick announcement. Tomorrow's session will be a physical one from 9 o'clock until 11 o'clock here at the postgraduate school. So, to everyone, welcome to the session. I'm just going to read out a bit of Dr. Lackman's bio, and then I will then hand over to him to start the session. So, Dr. Lackman, am I not saying it wrong? Is it not Lukman? Dr. Lackman?
Yes, I'm here.
Is it not Lukman?
It's Lukman.
Yes, that's I'm like, it doesn't sound right. So, thanks for that correction. So, Dr. Lukman is a senior lecturer in the Department of Chemistry at the Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria. He obtained his PhD in chemistry from the Northwest University here in South Africa in 2016, and he has a MSc from Obafemi Awolowo University and a BSc Chemistry with a first class in 2007. He has served as a postdoctoral fellow at Northwest University and the University of Johannesburg. He's a physical chemist with research interest in kinetics and thermodynamics of metals, alloys, and corrosion inhibition, as well as quantum chemical calculations of molecular and electronic structure. He has made significant contributions to research in corrosion science and inhibition, and as well as theoretical investigation of molecular and electronic properties of organic molecules and metal complexes, leading to the design of materials with fascinating physical and chemical properties. He has authored and co-authored over 100 publications in reputable peer-reviewed journals and other journals presented, and he has presented his research works at various conferences. Um, I must say that Dr. Lickman currently holds a senior research associateship position at the Department of Chemical Science here at the Faculty of Science at UJ, and he has served as a speaker, facilitator, resource person at numerous career enriching workshops and seminars. And he's currently the Vice Dean at the Division of Student Affairs at the Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria. So, Dr. Lackman, thank you once again. I'm now going to stop sharing my screen and then I will now hand over to you. To all our participants, if you do have a question, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat. Um, should there will be a time for Q&As, obviously, but then at that time we would ask you to then put your mic on and then ask your question. But for the duration of the presentation, please just make sure that your mic is muted. And thank you, Dr. Lackman. I now hand over to you.
Thank you, Tebugo. And good afternoon, colleagues. Yes, can you just confirm to me that you can hear me? So before I
Yes, I
continue
can
to
hear
talk.
you. Yes,
Thank
I
you
can
very
hear you
much.
clearly.
All right, thank you so much. Let me start by welcoming everyone and also to say that really this session was planned to hold in person such that all of us could be there at UJ physically. But then life happens. And like I said, when life happens, we've got to just adjust to it and just show that we are made for life and life is made for us. So that principle of flexibility and adjustment is one of those things that I think we will continue to hold forth as we go forward. So once again, I welcome you. I plan to make this session to be as interactive as possible. And the way and manner by which the workshop has been designed is in such a way that we'll all be there and then we'll be having this session physically. But then some of the things I'll be doing, I would still like you to follow. And I will appreciate if you can have a pen and paper such that some of those things that we're supposed to do physically, you can still do at your own end. Hopefully, when we follow up with a physical session tomorrow, then we can share thoughts and ideas on some of the things that we ought to have done physically today. So you are welcome once again. The workshop is titled Career Development and Self-Assessment. And so I added a rider to it, Building Purposeful Network and Leadership Skills. And the reason why I put that was because, excuse me, I realized that there is no way you can build career or you can develop career or plan career without having a good network. And that is the network that will be facilitating your advancement in your career. And then when you are advancing in career, there are tendencies that you'll be taking up new roles. And some of these roles will require that you acquire certain skills, as career advancement means that then you will be aspiring to lead other people. And so you've also got to acquire leadership skills. And so on that note, I put some of the contents. Really what I was thinking we are going to start with is doing like the main sheet as a way of introduction, such that if we are all there together physically, we can know each other. If we have the main sheet, then we can share it around and then at least we have some fun so that it will be an interactive session. So, but not much of a problem. If it's possible for us, I think we can still do the main sheet. That's if it will be possible for us, for one of the facilitators, maybe Mr. Nkosi, to allow all of us to have a momentary video when we finish with the main sheet, just to show all of us. If that will be possible, then I will appreciate. And so we discussed career development under some subheadings, just a brief definition of what it means, the forms of career development, the purposeful development, and then a model for developing career. Then the nexus between career advancement, networking and skills, then leadership tools, and then purposeful networking. And so all this we are meant to do in 2 sessions. And most of the things we'll be doing really will require that we reflect over the past journey, the present and the future. So there are so many things that we'll be doing through reflective writing. So it is important that we have pen and paper so that the session can be impactful as much as we want it to be. Well, let me start by saying, okay, we can still try the main sheet exercise. So I will, actually, it will be interesting if we can see each other, but not much of a problem. So I will implore you to take a paper and pen while putting that pen on the non-dominant hand. The non-dominant hand is the hand that you do not use frequently. So like for instance, I'm a right-handed person, so I write with my right hand. So if I'm going to draw the main sheet, I'm going to use my left hand. And so I hold the pen on that. And so if you can just close your eyes, hold the pen with your left hand or right hand, depending on your non-dominant hand, and then draw a portrait of yourself without pausing, just in a single drawing. Just draw it through without pausing. You could see the example of what I did previously. So I'm not very good at drawing, so I made the poor one. I know very many of you will make it better than I did. And so you can just write your qualifications below your portrait. If you have a designation or job role at the moment, like you are a postdoc or you're an administrative assistant, or you're a senior lecturer, you're a professor, and so on and so forth. You could write the designation or job role below it. So if you have an experience or area of specialization, you could write that. If there are some skills that you could readily claim that you've got, resilience, public speaking, computer literate, and so on and so forth, you should be able to claim certain skills of your own, as we need those skills to be able to position us quite appropriately for certain career. So you could write some of your self-acclaimed skills below your portrait. So if you have your hobbies, what do you do at your free time? You play football, you gist, you play games, and so on and so forth. You could write your hobbies. And then what is your fun fact? What's your fun fact? For me, I think I joke a lot with people. Maybe some people hit a lot, and so on and so forth. So what's your fun fact? So Mr. Nkosi, please, can you confirm to us if it's possible for us to have just a momentary video of everyone to show the admin sheet exercise? If it's possible, you can just say yes.
Dr. Luckman, it is, Lukman, it is possible. I'm just going to quickly go up and give them a similar sheet, a flip chart sheet, so they can write down and do the me sheet exercise.
Okay, so I should hold on for a moment.
Excuse me?
You want me to hold on for a moment?
Yes. I think also the participants that are online are probably just starting, so maybe we can give it 5 minutes and then we will switch on our camera in the other room.
All right, okay, that's
All
fine.
right.
So I
Thank
think
you.
we should just all be doing the main sheet
Yes.
exercise.
Yes, please.
So
I
perhaps I
will do
can
it too.
perhaps I can do another one too. Maybe it will be better than the old one.
Maybe since your bio has also changed, so you can add other things. All
All
right.
right, so main sheet exercise ongoing.
Yeah.
All right, I think we should be getting done.
It was indeed just now.
Then you can.
Because I'm done with my own and I don't want anybody to laugh at me.
Okay, Dr. Lukman, we've actually
Okay, are we done?
the one participant that's here physically is actually joined online, so we've only got online participants then.
All right, so then we can switch to the video. I'm sure some of them must be done with it. So
Yes.
let's just go to it. Yes, so
Okay.
let's just go
Thank
to it
you.
and then we can share that. So if possible, we'll also share it physically tomorrow, if possible. All right, so we can switch to the video just for the moment and then we go back to the presentation. So do I need to stop sharing?
No, do you want to put on your camera?
Oh yes, it's on.
Yes. We've also just the second icon next to the mic, the audio one, and then your video might go on.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you know if we can see you. Um, can't seem to see you, but I think we can. Should we try proceed? We've got
Okay.
one participant's camera that's already on, Sensei. He's actually here
Uh,
quickly, so his camera. I think he's ready to to share.
oh, okay. I stopped sharing the screen, but it's still showing, I think.
uh, just click on share video. You see where
Okay.
there's a raise hand, and there's a
All
video
right.
and a mic. Yeah,
All right.
maybe
Okay,
it's the
fine.
bandwidth. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Share video. Okay, I can see Lindsay. Lindsay, do we have your mic sheet?
There, we can
Okay.
see.
Oh, who else has got? All right. Maybe we can share this around tomorrow then. So maybe if we bring it around for the physical session, it's just for us to have some interactions and know one another better. Yes, I must also say that since we didn't know this session was going to come on online, we could have planned for a nice background soundtrack while we go on reflection or we go on exercise. So I really do not know how to do that using the using the Blackboard. So yes, it's fine. I think we can go back to the talk. So we are going to share this around again tomorrow. And then, of course, that of the tomorrow session will just be a follow-up on what we have done today. So it shouldn't be a problem. So yes, thank you. Yes, I think it's important for us to have some reflections of the kind of development or plan we've got for our career. So what exactly is your plan in short term, middle term, and long term? So 5 years time, maybe that is short for you. Middle, maybe 10 years, or long term plan, maybe in 20 years time. What exactly do you want to be called within this period? How do you want to be addressed? A doctor, a professor, honorable minister, Mr. President, Mr. Vice Chancellor. What exactly would you like to be addressed, or how would you like to be addressed in the next 5, 10, 20 years? And so this called for reflections, because then it is only when we have this kind of plan that then we continue to work towards it. And the kind of development that you are going to be working towards and the kind of skills that you want to be developing yourself with would depend on what you want to achieve or where you want to find yourself within these specified periods. So I think it's important for us to have these reflections, and you can actually have a kind of reflective writing on it. So if you write it down, normally if we have to meet physically, it is something we should do in pairs, and then it's going to be a kind of conversation between two people. It's important for you to tell your partner, just tell somebody how you would like that person to meet you in another 5 years, or where you would like that person to meet you, and how you would like that person to address you. Especially if I'm coming to your office in 10 years time, and then I have got to meet your secretary or your administrative assistant, and then I'm going to ask about you. I'm asking for Mr. So and so, or I'm asking for Madam Commissioner or something. So this is important for us. And so I will implore us to please have these reflections. And then maybe as a follow-up session tomorrow, we can also share our thoughts with partners regarding where we want to see ourselves in short, middle, or long period. Career development. You've got to have an idea of what your development should be about. And then you work towards it over a period of time. You've got to have that dream, and then you walk the dream. So it's defined as progression of short-term steps to achieve long-term professional goals. So you take one step at a time, and in taking those steps, you are targeting a particular goal in line of your profession. So it is a process an individual must undergo to evolve their occupational status. So if you start as a lecturer, for instance, then at a point you want to also advance to a senior lecturer, you want to advance to an associate professor, and then you want to advance to a professor. And when you become a professor, do you want to be a local professor? You want to be a professor that is known all over the continent? Or you want to be a professor that is internationally acclaimed? Or you want to be a professor that is known globally? Okay, in some other spheres of profession, how long or how wide do you want people to relate with you? So you've got to evolve through your occupational status. And it is a process of wanting a position and developing skills, knowledge, and motivation to eventually pursue that particular position. So we've defined this career development in various ways, but all still sum up to be the same thing. Because in the end, it still happens to be that you want a position at a particular period and you want to work towards it. And the process of working towards it will mean that you want to acquire certain skills, you want to go through the process, and eventually you are going to then assume that particular position. But the way and manner by which you're also going to sustain that position is important. And that is why it requires that you also develop yourself for it in terms of skills to lead people. So the reflections in this regard are what is all my long-term professional goals? What exactly am I working towards? What do I want to achieve? So what do I need in order to evolve my occupational status? What exactly are those things? Do I need a new degree? Do I need to go for some workshops? Do I need to go for some training? So you really need to identify all these that are required in order to equip yourself for that professional goal. And then I like using the term how might we, because that's one of those languages I picked up from my own leadership training, that how might we develop the required skills for future job roles. So you have to ask yourself, how might you go about developing yourself for such job roles that you may want to take up in future? So this reflection is also important and can also come in the form of a reflective writing that you have to put down on paper and study over a period of time, even when you are alone. So what are the forms of career development? It could come in form of organizational support, such that when you are already engaged on the job, there is what we call the on-the-job trainings that the organization could be supporting you on. I know some universities do organize like a free certificate program for their members of staff. UJ is also inclusive. And so if you get some on-the-job training, so an example of it is also this kind of workshops that we are doing that is also organized by the university, I suppose at no cost. Organization can also send you for coaching or mentoring or pair you with a mentor. You may also have to be put through some skills development process or a process of networking or career pathing. All this could be done using your organizational support. But then in a situation where you are not having such kind of support for a particular skill, then you could also put in personal efforts. Maybe you purposefully go for a seminar or workshop or conferences. You may have to find some formal training, a certificate program. Perhaps you may have to pay for it if you don't get the organizational support. Or you may have to go for further education. For instance, you've got a master's, but you know that you need a PhD to advance your career to get to the level you desire to get to. And so you need to go for additional education. Then you may have to do that through personal efforts. So the forms by which career development could take could be in the form of your organizational support, or it could be in the form of your personal efforts. So all these are possible. So what is purposeful development? So making decisions for long-term learning to align personal needs of physical and psychological fulfillment with career advancement opportunities. We have to make sure we identify job opportunities. And when we identify job opportunities, we need to be sure that we have enough skills or the required skills that match the roles. If we don't have it immediately, then it means we need to go and acquire that skills, and then we look forward to future opportunities in that area such that we could have a matching skill for the job. So the reflections are, am I doing well enough to advance my career? Do I have those skills already? Am I working toward those skills? So first of all, like I said, we've got to know the career path we want to go through. A lecturer, a support staff, an administrative staff in the university, and so on and so forth. So your career path has to be well defined. And then you continue to then ask yourself if you have those skills. And then you ask yourself if you have enough, if you're advancing towards it, or you are deviating from it. So am I doing well enough to advance my career? So you need to reflect over that. Do my potentials, whether that potential is innate or whether it is derivable, so do my potential, my dream, and my career engagements match? So do I have that potential that match the career engagement? Am I dreaming towards that career engagement, and am I working towards it? So it's important for us to be able to identify the skills that we have, whether innate or derivable. So if it is innate, of course, you are lucky, you don't have much of a problem. If it is the one you've got to derive, that's when you need to go through some of those forms of career development that we have just discussed in the form of training, seminars, workshops, and the like, such that it could readily match the engagement you've got for the career you are dreaming at. How might we focus along a defined career path? How might we? How might we just ensure that we are not derailed? How might we just ensure that our attentions are not divided? You want to become a professor and at the same time you want to be a business person or you want to be a politician. So you may realize that there could be some clashes in the career path, and then one may affect the other. So how might you even combine, if you so desire that you want to combine those paths? Do you have the potential? Do you have the capability? So how might we focus along a defined career path? So we need to reflect over all this such that our journey could be smooth and then could be timely. So we have this model for developing career. So it is important we know our value, we identify our skills. In knowing your value, then you must know quite well those skills that you have, whether you derived them by acquiring them through training, or it is innate that nobody taught you, but then you know you have such skills. And when you identify your skills, then you've got to appreciate your value. So if you have those value and you know your skills, then you need to create a future for yourself by planning actions and explore opportunities. Identifying skills and value is not enough if you don't shoot at those opportunities. They've made a job advertisement or they've made an advertisement for a position of a director and things like that, and you know you have all the matching skills, but you sit back without applying for it, then you are not exploring the options available. So you don't just put life on auto mode. Putting life on auto mode will mean that something like you are living a toddler to control his own life. He can just jump into a water and drown himself or herself. So you don't put life on auto mode. You've got to just jump into those opportunities because once you know your value and you know your skills, then it is still you that have got to apply for some of those things. Of course, there could be situations where they may have to invite you for certain career, but then when there are advertisements and you know you are qualified for it and you have everything it takes to perform on the role, you need to explore the options. So in assessing ourselves, I must say it's also important that in developing career, we have to do self-assessment along the line because you cannot just develop a career without knowing where you are coming from, where you are, and where you are going to. And so in doing that, we've got to use some model, and one of it is the SWOT analysis. So what's your strength? What's your weakness? What are the opportunities? And then what are the threats that could delay you or apparently stop you from achieving that development that you desire? So you've got to make critical reflection over a period of time in assessing yourself as you journey your career development. So there is this career testing. You've got to ask yourself if your plan, if your planned career is going towards the direction that you have planned it to be. So make self-assessment of that. You've got to make research. You don't just say you've known it all because you've been 20, 30 years on that career, and so you are all in all. You still have to do more and more research. So if you are not researching, you need to ask yourself if you are actually developing or advancing in career. So you need to ask yourself in retrospect and self-assess yourself if you're actually researching your career. So community resources, what are those things available around you and accessible for you to also advance your career? So you need to ask yourself and self-assess yourself on that. And then your personality test. How do you relate with people? You actually have that kind of engagement that will enable you to have public engagement with people, interface with people, if you are put in a position or a job role that requires that you have public engagement. So you need to do personality test of yourself and assess yourself for that particular role. So the required tools for advancing a career: you may need a degree, you must have an interest, it has to be purposeful. It's not just that you landed there or you meet yourself there or they just gave the job to me. I did not actually ask for it. It may tell on your performance on the job. There must be interest. And then you ask yourself if you have the strength. Strength could be built over time. So especially once you put interest into the job. And then the traits, those are the things that you already have inbuilt. and then the ambitions, the job search tools. Do you have access to the tools for you to search for the job that matches your skills and your roles? And networking, you need people around you. This journey doesn't have to be a single one. Doesn't have to be lonely. So you need people. And in building network, it is not the day that you need those people that you start building the network. Network has to be built over time for a particular purpose. You may have people in your network that are useful for certain purpose and some other ones useful for some other additional purpose. So the time and period you need each and every one of them, you just go back into your boardroom and then you make use of the particular network that is available. Connection with employers. So how might we? These are some of the thrilling words that I thought we were going to ask ourselves to develop some reflective writing around them. How might we? How might I reflect over my career development? How might I lead people when I get to certain level? How might I network with people in order to be able to now develop my career? How might I network with people in order to ensure I have the necessary leadership skills? How might I reflect over a period? So all these thrilling words are those things that I think also important for us as they connect with what we are discussing in this workshop. So these thrilling words, I advise that you sit down and do some reflective writing over them using the how might we. That's our language at the moment. How might we inspire other people to also be able to make efforts in advancing their career? How might I connect with the necessary people that are going to assist me in also advancing my career? How might I advance even when I do not have the capacity at the moment? How might we, just how might we? And we continue to ask those questions using the thrilling words, and then perhaps we'll be able to find some of the answers that are burning in our heart, and then we'll be able to advance in our career. So, what is the nexus? The career development, the leadership skills, and the purposeful network. I think I've explained this before, that in the process of developing your career, you will get to a level that you will need people to assist you in that development. And when you get to certain job roles, you will also need certain skills as you'll be leading people, as you are ascending the ladder. So you need those leadership skills. And so the nexus is that you cannot have a career development without a network, and you cannot sustain a development in your career without having certain skills. So that is the nexus. And so that is what now leads us to preparing ourselves for the big roles. And so some of the leadership tools that I'll be sharing with you are those that I've also picked up in my own leadership training tool. And so I'm starting with the creative art of making choices. There are times that when you are leading people, people will give you ideas. People will give you numerous information, even numerous data, and it becomes so complex that you don't even know which one to make use of. Or you also want to start doing certain things, but it's so complicated that you don't even know where to start. So the training is that you first of all make a list of all the possibilities. What are those things? What are those things coming to your head? And then you now define criteria to prune it down. So there are so many times that everything will just look so complex and we don't know the starting point. For those of us in the academia, you want to write a manuscript and then you don't even know how to start. Just start anyhow. Start anyhow. Start writing something. And then over a period of time, you just be putting the pieces together. Like for instance, I wanted to make this presentation and then I'm going to talk to my people here. I don't even know where to start. Okay, start anyhow. And then you rearrange and rearrange that particular PowerPoint slide until it fits in to what you are going to talk about. And then it flows quite well in the way and manner you want it to be. So you have to start developing yourself for that leadership role of being able to take all manner of ideas from people, after which you process it and then you make your choices. So the idea is that you first of all diverge and give people that opportunity. When you are leading people, give them that opportunity to be able to just bring all kind of ideas, and then you ensure that you do not be judgmental in the process, as you may eventually shut your ear and your eyes against the one that is going to be beneficial. So let them diverge, let them go in different directions, let them just bring ideas from various angles, and then you begin to refine and converge at a point since you already know where you are going. And I'm sure then you are going to make choices that are appropriate for that process. So in developing your career also, you will need this idea, because then all kind of thoughts will be coming to your head. Should I do a PhD? Should I do a MSc? Should I go for postdoc? Should I take up a career already? Should I go into marriage? Should I start having children and things like that? Just write everything down and then begin to then prune it down using certain criteria that is going to refine it and make a convergence at the end of the day. So this is an example. You first of all diverge. And a list is not a discussion or debate. It's not just that we want to argue about it. Let people just continue to contribute. You make a list of every possibilities. And so this list of series of potential options, one after the other, will be evaluated. And in evaluating it, you have to apply certain criteria. Be positive that you are still going to converge at the end of the day. It's going to be reduced as you are going to pick from the pool of it into one other box that does not contain so much. So then you focus on the choices you actually want to utilize. It doesn't mean that the whole thing at the end of the day that you are putting aback will not be useful at some other time. But for the purpose of that particular achievement at the moment that you are targeting, maybe some other options are not so useful during that present time. So just set up the criteria, diverge, and then you ensure that you converge eventually. But the idea of this whole thing is that when you have complexity, when everything seems so complex that it goes in different direction, still be sure that you can still converge. Just make a list of all those options, and then you continue to pick from the box into an empty box that can then make you to converge at the options or the choices that you actually want to make at that time. So there will be myriad of options, and then we are going to focus on the one that is going to be useful for a particular purpose. So when we develop our career to a level, it may require that you be the one to lead other people. And in leading people, there will be numerous things, there will be numerous ideas, there will be all forms of characters. There will be those that want to overspeed you, there will be those that want to drag along, there will be those that just want to stay aback, but still need to carry everybody along. And so that is why it's important for you to learn how to lead and how to follow at the same time. And so I'm putting an example here that sometimes leadership looks like this. There are just those people that you are leading that want to be ahead of you. Okay, give them the opportunity. But then it doesn't mean that you are going to give them the control of the whole thing. But then you must ensure that you give them the opportunity also to belong, such that you do not lose them in the course of you saying you just want to be the one ahead of everybody. You are going to lose certain followers. So leadership may look like this at times. So you have to lead and then you follow at the same time. So it's important for us to understand this in the course of developing a career, because then it is when you are identified to have developed some of these skills that your career advancement will take you to the level that they will even invite you to come and be leading certain other people, or then you have the skills already that will match the role of leading people at some other places, then you can apply for it. So this is a skill that you've got to develop in the process of developing or creating a career plan. Leading a team will also require that we have this idea of generous listening. Uh, the generous listening thing is actually something I would like us to do physically. So it's one of those things that we'll do a follow-up on tomorrow. Because you will agree with me that if we are doing this physically at the moment, we probably will not be at this level or of the workshop yet, because there are so many other reflections that we must be doing at the moment. The principle of generous listening is one thing that I will advise you to inculcate, because it applies to so many aspects of your life, not only in the career, even in the family, even talking to spouse, discussing with children, discussing with friends. But then, since we are talking about career development, let's focus on how it affects our career or how it might affect our career. First of all, we advise that we switch off our judgment, our sense of judgment. Do not judge until you are able to receive everything from the speaker. Listen carefully to that speaker. The principle of generous listening, I think a follow-up session tomorrow at the physical session, we should be able to demonstrate this and have a practical example of it. It requires that we are in three, such that we have a speaker, and then we have a listener, and then we have a scribe. And then the speaker can pick any topic. The listener doesn't have to judge the topic. You don't even have to know everything about the topic. Just listen and let that fellow talk. Let that fellow talk all manners of things, all sorts of things. Whether it makes sense to you or not is not the question now. All you've got to do is just to listen. And then let the scribe continue to write as much as possible from what the speaker is saying, such that at the end of the day, even if you share your writing with the speaker will be able to train himself or herself on how to do speaking to people at some other time. Oh, this area I did not say it well. That area I made sense in it, and things like that. So the principle of generous listening and the practical session of it is actually going to train 3 people at a time. And I would prefer that we take it in a session, one after the other, and we switch roles such that each and every one will be able to take a role, and then we know what it feels to be a listener without talking at all. Even when that person is saying things that you know quite well is wrong, you don't have to say anything. How does it feel that you are in the house or you are in an office and somebody is saying something that you're supposed to react to, but it's actually going to scatter the entire office environment during that period? But because of your own leadership skills, you are able to manage the situation. How does it feel to just listen generously and let that person land before you now take a correction and say, okay, I've heard everything about it, but why don't you look at it from this point of view? And that is the quality of a leader, because that person eventually you give him the chance to talk. It is just normal. It is morally correct for him or her to also listen to you so that you can also make your own point. So the principle of generous listening is important for us to develop. Wanderer approach. Sometimes you claim to know, but then you don't know so much as people that are also within the folds, or you continue to wonder if you actually know or you don't know, but then you realize you know more than every other person. So you've got to make a blend of the two. Don't claim to be all the knower, and don't claim to be the one that doesn't know everything among the people. So this principle is also important as an approach that you've got to embrace in leading people. And then I go to the first dancer principle. I don't know if this video will play. Let me just try. And then when we watch the video, I will just advise us that maybe when we meet at the physical session tomorrow, we can share our thoughts on the video. So I think it's like a 3 minutes video that is going to also teach us the principle of the first dancer. Okay, so I think during that period,
Dr. Lukman, do we have a question? Is it not supposed to have sound? We can't seem to hear.
Oh, yes, I'm listening.
I was saying that the sound was a bit low. We couldn't. Maybe could you try increase the volume for us?
Oh, the sound is low,
Yes, we can't. We can see them dancing, but
but
we
you couldn't hear a thing.
no.
No, okay, let me check. Could it be from my laptop? Oh, sorry about that.
But we
So
can
I
hear
was the,
you clearly. Yeah.
okay, so I'm the only one enjoying the dance.
Most
My
certainly.
my apology for that. Okay, let me know if it's better anyway. Is it better?
No. You see where you place play in the other corner where there's a play button. Yes, there's that. Or is it? Oh, it's already almost. Oh, okay.
Okay, let's try. Okay, if it's not any better, then we can try this at the physical session tomorrow.
Okay, no problem. Thank
Oh
you.
yes, yes, because I will actually prefer that we make a good analysis of the principle so that we can understand what the first dancer principle is all about and what the first follower, how do we appreciate the first follower? What is the role of the second follower, and so on and so forth. This is important really because when you are leading people, you don't expect everybody to follow you at the same pace or at the same time. But it is also important for you to recognize the fact that people have different strengths and different level of assimilation, especially for those of us that are teachers. So this principle is a cross-cutting one that you may need to apply in so many areas of your engagement. So I would prefer that we do this also in the physical session. Actually, we plan this to be physical really, and that is why I've never come up with this topic in any of our workshop series, even last year, because I know it's something that will really require that we meet physically. And so, but since we have already fixed it for today, and then the logistics happened that I couldn't make it to campus, so we still have to go ahead. And I just believe we can trust the process and pick one or two things from this session while we meet again tomorrow to just follow up. So, then leading a team also requires that we develop this idea of the PPCO. What are the pluses that I'm going to derive from the team I'm leading? Or what are the pluses that we are going to derive from an idea that the team has developed? What are those good things about the idea? Or even in developing your career, what are the pluses? what are the what are the good things about the advancement in your career, the idea that you are developing in that career? What are the potentials? What are the additional ideas that this original idea could also spark such that then it advances you further? So what are the concerns? What are those challenges that you've got to overcome in order to succeed in developing that idea? So because all these are important, was many a times we don't just come up with an idea and then it works straight ahead. There will definitely be concerns. There will definitely be reasons why 1001 reasons really why one idea will not work. But then it doesn't really mean absolutely it won't work. We only have to identify those concerns and how might we overcome the concerns. So what are those things that could help us in overcoming the concerns such that we could develop the potentials fully and make use of the pluses that are available within the idea? So the pluses are the positives, the benefits are the advantages. So what are those things that have worked well for us or that will work well if we have utilized the idea? And what are the opportunities? What are those things that we have got to build in order to just make sure that we optimize the pluses that we've got from the idea? What else might happen? What are the other things, the other positive things that are ahead that we could derive from the idea? What are the concerns? So does it really worth it? That okay, knowing fully well that there are a lot of potentials ahead of the pluses, Does it really worth it? That we have to find a way to surmount the concerns. So if it worth it, then we've got to put effort into it and ensure that we focus on it in order that we could get all the necessary potential that we could develop from the idea. So how do we overcome? Now, this session is going to be a practical one. I think we'll just do this tomorrow. We can't do this today. So purposeful networking. Networking is something that is important for us to do in any facet of life. I can imagine you sitting in South Africa and then you are connecting with everybody around the globe. You connect with people in Europe, in America, connect with people in Asia, connect with people in North America, and so on and so forth. But before you could do this, that network has to be built. And in building that network, you have to be purposeful about it. For what reason, really? For what reason do you want to build a network? What kind of network do you want to build? Business network, academic network, research network, and so on and so forth. Political network, you know. So when you want to build your network, you need to first of all know that you have to start from a point. And one of such points is a gathering like this. If we have done this session physically, by the time we pass around our meet sheets, then you will realize that there are so many things that you could learn from the next person, from the person that is next to you. But since we couldn't do that at the moment, then maybe when we do the physical session tomorrow, that was one of the purposes of doing the meet sheets. And then we continue to network from there. What does this person have? What kind of strength does the person have that I do not have? Because it is during that physical session that we'll be able to see that actually this person has the tenacity. This person has ability to ask questions that will lead us to our goal. This person has the ability to argue in a way that will get you convinced on certain things, and so on and so forth. You need that network. You need to be able to identify people, their strengths, and how they could assist you in your journey. So, purposeful network. For what purpose do I want to build a network? How well do I want it to expand? Where and where do I want the network to get to? And so in building it, you have to ensure that you build it ahead. You don't just start the day I need a network in South Africa, and then I begin to scatter my head that, oh, who can I call? And then I've never established a network in South Africa, or I've never established a network in America. You begin to ask questions. I need to write a grant that will require that somebody from a university in Germany is a co-researcher on the grant. And then you begin to ask yourself, who do I know in Germany? How can I connect somebody in Germany? It doesn't quickly work like that. So it's important for us to build network ahead for certain purposes that we might have identified. So purposeful networking, the roles and benefits. So we have those roles that the network could play for you, the information role. The information role, you need somebody to feed you with information, somebody to be your customer voice that will tell you you are this, you can do this, you are very good at it. That will even tell the world about you, not just you making noise about yourself now. Because people may not really listen to you. But when other people talk about you, people listen better. Who is that person that passes information about you? You see, when I was taking through this leadership, this networking model, I couldn't quickly realize I have people actually in my network that are playing that role of information for me. But by the time I was reflecting, because it's actually a session that you've got to sit down and be writing out the names of those people that have been playing that role. Just think about it. There will be one person that plays that role. It could be your father. You don't know, but you couldn't really remember. It's not in your subconscious that your spouse or your sister or brother is actually playing information role in your life. It doesn't quickly occur to you that you have a boss that's actually playing information role in your life. So then you have the power role. Who is that person that will ensure that anywhere he or she is, will ensure that anything about you is just going to fly. So who is playing that power role? You have to make sure you keep that person in your network diligently, such that you don't lose such person playing the role. Then the development role. So I have this. The information role provide new knowledge, insights, and ideas. So you have the customer voice, the expert, the inspirer, the navigator. That person that plays all this role in your life, you need to identify that person because that is how you are going to develop your career. Then the power roles to provide access to people and resource and get things done such that you are going to develop your career by having some sponsors, by having some influencers, by having somebody that will unlock opportunities for you. So you need all those people within your network. If you don't have them, you should begin to now build such network. And if you have them already, you should ensure that you keep them purposefully. Then the development role. Somebody should be an improver, a challenger. You may not really know quite well until you reflect over it that you have somebody very close to you that is a challenger. It could even be your child that you've got to read a particular book because you know your child is going to ask questions about it. It's going to ask you question. Uh, what's an hippopotamus? Or why does something has two heads or two legs or three legs and things like that? But then you know you are not catching quickly with such an intelligent child. That's a challenger for you. So you need to improve yourself over time on it so that you can catch up quickly with such person. So you need those people in your life so that you do not also remain at one spot. So the task we are to do here is to make a list of those people within our network or people that might be playing each of those roles or people that may play them, whether we have them already or we are thinking about having them, or we are looking at them from afar. How can we bring them into our network? So that is also very important. So a typical personal boardroom that I have developed over time is what I shared with you. I did not know quickly that I have all these people playing these roles in my life until I have to sit down and do a personal reflection of the people that are playing those roles. Finally, the purposeful networking we require that we apply the cross-cutting principle of five wives and a husband because it's important for us to know who should we be bringing into our network and for what purpose and when do we need them. Why exactly will I be making use of that person within my network? Why should I keep such person within the network? Where am I going to get such a person to bring into my network? And how am I going to make use of that person? I call it a cross-cutting principle because I've applied it in so many areas, even outside purposeful networking, career development, and so many other things. And it's still working relevantly in so many areas. So that's why I call it cross-cutting. And purposeful networking, taking a reflection, who might be in your network? Who might be in your network? Who do you need to be in that network so that you can develop your career well and ensure that you have all the skills that you need and have all the people that you need in order to advance well. Who do you currently have? Who do you need to bring in? Who should be there and who might be there? So in retrospection, I want us to now reflect again the possibilities. You might have your journey, the preschool, the high school, the university, the PhD, the postdoc, the job, everything is just smooth from start to the end. If you have that, well, good luck. It's just an opportunity, it's a luck. But then it also comes with its own challenge that if it gets rough at any time, you may have to struggle, especially because you've never got it rough before. But it doesn't usually happen like that. One thing that I know is that more than 90% or 99% of people, we have it bumpy and challenging, but we've just got to make it interesting because we have to start and ensure we push it to the end. So it could be blurry at afar. You want to get to that end. You want to ensure that you develop your career to the level that you deserve, but you don't know how to get there. But you just have to work towards it because it will be getting clearer as you get closer. And so at that point, I would say we should just close the session for today. So I've designed it in a way that is going to take us for 2 days really. But because we couldn't meet physically, in order to have reflections on all those things and all those tasks that we're supposed to do. And so we stop here and then we do a follow-up on all those areas that we couldn't do in the online session. We follow up with physical session tomorrow. hopefully we can understand and then appreciate the workshop better. So thank you once again for listening. And so I can take questions and comments if available. I don't know if I need to stop sharing to do that. Yes, Tebogo, can you assist me? Do I need to stop sharing in order to take questions
No,
or
no, 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 no,
comments
not at all. It's okay.
or
We can,
contributions?
yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Just,
Okay, so okay, I think I just need to minimize there. Okay, fine.
all right. Thank you, Dr. Lukman, for that. And then I think we've just opened the floor for questions and comments and reflection. Also, I am of the opinion that tomorrow we will then do a more detailed session. So I guess the same people that are online tomorrow, if possible, should come so we can do the part two together with them.
Let me do this.
So if there's
Okay,
anyone with a question, perhaps you want guidance with your own career path, I think this is a good time for you to ask that.
okay. Uh,
Okay, I see some people are leaving. I do have a question, but I don't want to take everyone's spotlight. So you can either post it in the chat or yeah,
okay, but people can also raise hands to talk, isn't it?
yes, they can. Yes, they're more than welcome to.
All right, okay, thank you. Okay, maybe we should take question from you, Tebogo. Maybe you be the first follower, while I'm the first dancer.
Okay. I had I think it was mostly towards at the beginning with the reflection piece. And we had to then have the short, middle and long term um goals. And and another question that you asked was how would you like to be addressed? I think it was that one, the second one. There. Um is there certain ways and I think my question is probably alluded like you were saying that some of us are support staff, some of us are academic staff. What would be the best way to create this path? You've spoken about tools of like career testing and so forth, but would um I know that the psychological services here, PsyCat, does that, but would it be recommended, and this is my question, would it be recommended to perhaps look at someone who is sort of above me, and then that is maybe looking at, let's say, if I'm in, like now in project and program management, would it be best to look at someone who is like a program manager or project manager, and then checking at items of their CV to see what skills I can attain. Because sometimes I think there's courses, like if you're an engineer, you need to be registered with the engineering council for etc. But I wouldn't know that if I'm just at the beginning. So if I'm planning my short, middle, and long term, would it also be advisable to look at someone that's currently in the field and then take on like a mentor and take on what they have and then try acquire that? Would that also assist?
Okay, yeah, thank you. Let me start by saying that a typical example of setting plans in the short, middle, and long term is a situation whereby even when you are, say, in the third year in the university, you already know what you are gunning for. Uh, you are in the third year in the university and you are this type that people always come around to say, yes, come and take us through an interactive session on this model, on this module and things like that. And at the end of the day, you are able to quickly discover yourself that you enjoy it. You enjoy teaching others. You enjoy taking them through those sessions. Even when you have attended the same class together, they still end up coming back to you and telling you the feedback, giving you feedback that yes, it was after you took us through the interactive session that I understand the concept better. And so you should be able to quickly identify yourself as a potential lecturer, for instance. And then because then there is interest in it. And so while you are in that third year, you should quickly realize that yes, in another 3-4 years, you should get your MSc. That is your short-term plan. And then in another 5-10 years, you should be a senior lecturer. That is your middle-term plan. And then and so on and so forth, you continue to take it along the line. For somebody taking up a career in another line, say an engineering line, you will surely have people that are ahead of you. How are they faring? Who are those ones that you cherish their development, you cherish the way they've been developing their career? So you may need to find a way of getting close to them, interact with them, have them as mentor. Of course, you're going to have mentor within your network. Those are the people that will inspire you. So it's important. What are the associations that they belong to? What are the criteria for you to join such association? So if you have all those, because then you need to identify where you want to get to. You are a lecturer, you are a professor, but you are only locally known. You are not known outside the shore of your university. You are not known outside the shore of your country, and you are not known outside the shore of your continent. So you must be able to define the extent to which you want to expand your network, or the extent to which you want to develop your career or advance your career. So that's a typical example regarding that. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Lindsay.
Hi, good afternoon, Dr. Lukman, and welcome to UJ at South Africa.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, good. I want to ask the polygamy question. I wonder if you could elaborate more on that analogy. I don't have much a good grip on that. The 5 wives and a husband.
It's not polygamy. Come on. I'm not asking you to ask. I'm not asking you to have 5 wives.
I'm with you.
Just...
I agree. But
all right.
I just want you to elaborate a bit more on that. I think I missed you there.
Okay. All right. Yes. Thank you. I came up with that principle of 5 W's and a H, and which we have applied in so many areas of endeavors. When you want to do anything, there must be a reason for you to do it, and there must be a way and manner by which you must identify to go about it. So, and I've applied it in this regard to purposeful networking, that for every single thing, there must be why, and there must be when, or what, or where, and how. And so for purposeful networking, you must be able to identify who you want to bring into your network for what purpose. For example, okay. Let's say, for instance, I have a network. I have Professor Quraishi, who was formerly at the university in India and now a director at King Fahd University in Saudi Arabia in my network. I have Professor Quraishi in that my network because I want to ensure that I have quite a large number of people in India that I can work with. Meanwhile, Professor Quraishi is a front-leading researcher in India. His name rings a bell. He has trained so many PhDs and so many professors. Having Professor Quraishi in my network automatically will mean that I will probably work with almost all the PhDs he had trained. And so I'm expanding my tentacle in India. And now he's in Saudi Arabia because he's a high flyer. And so I can also have network through him in Saudi Arabia. So I have him in that network. Who is that person? Professor Quraishi. And for what purpose? To ensure that I can transcend through continents, through countries. And so I must identify when I needed him for whatever reason. And so if you want to have that kind of people in your network, you must know where to get them and why you need them and how to get them. And that's why I developed this principle of 5W and the H. It's just to make it fun that we call it 5 wives and a husband. It's not asking you to marry 5 wives.
Wonderful, thank you, Doctor. It's quite insightful. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is it supposed to have no sound? Oh, okay. I think that was talking to the video we played the other time. Okay. No, it actually has sound. Or maybe we'll play it again tomorrow, I think. All right. Any other question? Or you can comment, or you can actually add to what we have discussed so far.
It doesn't seem like we have. Should we then pause for now, Dr. Lukman, and then continue tomorrow?
All right. If that is fine by everyone, it's okay.
All right. To all the participants, thank you very much for tuning in. We do have a part 2 tomorrow. Excuse me, in the training room at the postgrad school at APK from 9 till 11. Please do come through. And I guess maybe some people are shy, Dr. Lukman. They want to ask in person. So tomorrow, if you do have your questions, please come with them tomorrow. But from
Or
us,
people that I may want to shake hand with.
if they want to shake your hand.
Yes.
But no, thank you. I think I also got answered. I think essentially sometimes you don't look at the comments or opinions from people when they tell you how good you are at certain skills and you take them for granted. And that could help you with obviously your reflection piece. But I hope everyone got some nugget that they can use as they undertake this career development and self-assessment process. So from us at the Postgrad School Research Capacity Development Unit, we say thank you, Dr. Lukman. We shall see you
Thank
tomorrow
you.
and for the rest of the participants.
Thank you. See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.